वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनौ वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनौ देवकी परमानन्दो देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरु कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं दैवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. I place my humble salutations upon the lotus feet of Sri Vedavyasa, due to whose grace we are able to experience the rasa of Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, and Srimad Bhagavata. We had witnessed Sri Krishna advising Arjuna about various qualities of a calm man. We shall be exploring more into his advice in today's session. Sri Krishna says, Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptihi dhirastatra na muhyati. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara. Kaumara is childhood. Yauvana is youth. Jara is old. Just as the body passes through the stages of being a child, being a youth, and then becoming old and shrinking, Dehinosmin, even the soul undergoes a cycle. So that is why it is said, Tatha dehantara praptihi. After the death of the body, the soul passes back into the world, or if it has attained moksha, it joins back with the Paramatma. We might assume that Hinduism, or Sanatana Dharma as it is originally known, is the only school of thought that gives importance to rebirth. But it is important to understand that Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, and a lot of philosophers from Greece, Rome, such as Socrates, Plato, and philosophers like Max Muller, Schiller, Goethe have all propagated and agreed upon the phenomenon of rebirth. Even a recent scientific paper produced in Europe has proved that without rebirth, it is impossible to explain the occurrence of events in one's life. So, what does this paper say? It is important to understand that there is something called law of conservation of energy. So, when a soul dies, if it does not come back, this law is violated. It has to come back in order for the balance to be maintained. So, the question, why is there more population now than it was in the previous times? Because in the previous times, more and more people used to attain moksha. Now, the number of people who attain moksha, Jivan Muktas, are very less in number. So, rebirth keeps happening and the population keeps rising. Or, in another aspect, was the population of olden days indeed less? In the Mahabharata war alone, we see 13 plus 9, 22 Akshohini Senas battling it out. In just the Pradesha of modern day North India, 22 Akshohinis or 20 plus Akshohinis were present. It is important to understand that there was such a population even back then. But then a lot of people became Jivan Muktas. Now the cycle comes back. Not a lot of people are Jivan Muktas. We continue to be reborn again and again. This is one aspect of the scientific paper, the law of conservation of energy. The second is occurrence of events. As we know, a lot of philosophers and technology experts believe that life is a simulation, that life is programmed by a great programmer. Some people call the programmer God, some people call it Paramatman, and the activities occur consistently. That is, no two humans would have experienced the exact same life. Even if they are born in the same house, even if they are identical twins, yet their life choices become different and their life paths become different. No two humans have the absolute same life cycle, absolute same life events. So, when a third person, let us assume three people in this conversation, Rama, Shama, and Krishna. These are three random names I am taking. Assume Krishna throws a stone aiming at Rama, but it misses Rama and hits Shama. Then the philosophers question, what made the stone miss Rama, who was the main target, and hit Shama? The explanation for this given by the Dharma Sutras is Purva Janma Karma. Because of Shama's Purva Janma Karma, he was hit by the stone, and because of Rama's Purva Janma Karma, he was not hit by the stone. Very simple. So, from where does this Purva Janma Karma come into existence? Purva Janma Karma can be explained only if there is a Purva Janma. And Purva Janma is possible only by rebirth. That is, now I have a life, I have had a life previously, it means that I have been reborn, right? Another phenomenon that has been used as evidence in Hinduism is the Buddha's various encounters. In various stages of his life, he has encountered various janmas of his and explained that I was in this stage and then I became this and stuff. We may assume the Abrahamic faiths do not have rebirth, but even sects in the Abrahamic faiths have the concept of rebirth. Let us not go into detail in that question. People who are interested can come for a debate or a discussion in the comment section where we can elaborate on this if required. But what is important to understand is even Sufis. One very famous Sufi has said that I was once a rock, then I became a plant, then I became a small organism, then I became a larger organism, then I became a man, and now I am able to worship God. So, rebirth is a phenomenon propagated and agreed upon by various philosophers. So, how do we understand this Purva Janma Karma? That is a very different topic. We'll take that up in the later discussions. But it is important to understand that Dhiraha Tatra na Muhyati. When there is rebirth for the soul again and again, assume you are wearing a shirt and the shirt tears. Will you sit and cry 1 year because that shirt was torn? You will say, okay, this shirt was torn, I'll take a new shirt and wear. The same way, when the body is detached, the soul goes into the next body. And that is why in our Puranas it is said, your Pitru may come as anyone in the world, so treat everyone with kindness. When you look at a person, it may be your grandfather or a great grandfather who has come in that form, who has taken rebirth into that form. Would you talk to your great grandfather in that way? Will you scold him? Will you be disrespectful? That is why our Puranas say you never know who is your great grandfather. It may be the person who you just scolded. So be careful when you're talking to people. Be aware. Don't scold anyone. Be polite. Because they say we need to always be madhu in our words, sweet in our words. Because rude anyone can be. Anyone can be angry, anyone can scold. But the ability to be sweet always comes to very certain people, and those people are the ones who are remembered all the time. Someone who is scolding everyone always is never remembered. Maybe they are remembered for the bad deeds. But only a person who is always sweet, always mildly spoken is remembered for their good words. Sri Krishna continues saying, Matra sparshastu kaunteya शीतोष्ण सुख दुःखदाः आगमापायिनो अनित्याः तां स्थितिक्षस्व भारत मात्रा स्पर्शाः तु कौन्तेय. O Krishna, matra sparshastu kaunteya. O Kaunteya, these happiness and sadness that comes in one's life are like Shitoshna in nature. Shita means winter, Ushna means summer. Agamaha apainaha. They come, they go. They come, they go repeatedly. Anityaha. They are not permanent. A very, very strong example is given here with respect to what is the difference between mind and body. When will you feel cold? When it is winter season? When will you feel hot? When it is summer season? Will you feel cold in summer season? Anyone can feel cold in summer season? No. Can anyone feel very hot in winter season? Again, no. But our mana is not like that. When your environment is very happy, you still might feel sad. Your whole environment might be sad, but you will be feeling happy. This is the difference between the matra sparsha of the body and the matra sparsha of the mind. Our mind does not process the anityaha part. You suddenly touch a hot iron box. Immediately when you touch it, you will feel hot. When you take away your hand, it will become normal. But for the mind, when a bad event happens, the pain continues to stay. Year after year, what will say? Some person might have scolded you 1 year before. After 1 year, he'll say, before 1 year he scolded me. When you look at an iron box, and when the iron box has burnt you, will you say, that iron box burnt me 1 year ago, I will not touch it again in my life? First of all, it was our mistake who went and touched the hot iron box. And now we are blaming the iron box itself for burning us. But the mind does not process this. A person might have passed away 5 years ago, and we keep mourning for the death. Krishna asks in a very sarcastic tone, you cannot feel cold in summer season, but how are you able to feel sadness when everyone else is happy? Environment is the same. In a party, 10 people might be sitting, and those 10 people might be feeling different emotions. But that is not possible in the physical body. When it is winter season, everyone will feel cold only. It may be different degrees of cold. One might feel very cold to wear 10 sweaters. One might feel it is cold, I will wear a sweater, but nobody will feel excessively sweating and hot and all. That means it is abnormal. So, Krishna says, O Kaunteya, O Bharata. Bharata means a person who is in the Vamsha of Bharata Raja. Matra sparshastu. These happiness and sadness keep coming and going in your life, Arjuna. You should not take them seriously. You should understand to tolerate them, experience them, and take measures when it happens. But after that, if you keep worrying about it, then who is the loser? When it is winter season, it is cold. Yes, what we will do as a measure, we will wear a sweater. After winter passes, will we continue wearing the sweater simply? Even if summer comes, will we continue wearing the sweater? No, we change the cloth. The same way, when the pain comes, you take measures to adapt. But will you continue taking the same measures? Will you continue being bitter even after that phase has passed and there are a lot of things for you to be happy? In the same way, will you make your happiness the only criteria in the world that you cannot see the sadness at all of people? That is also not right. You go to a death and you start laughing. That is not how the world runs. Laughing is different, smiling is different. That's why Paramatma is called Satchidananda. Means a person who is happy from the heart. We will be exploring this in the next, very next shloka, where Sri Krishna says, Yam hi navyathayantyete purusham purusharshabha samadukha sukham dhiram so amritatvaya kalpate. O Purusharshabha. Again, Sri Krishna is emphasizing why he chose Arjuna to give the Bhagavad Gita. Because it is a Gita Sara, right? We cannot give an award to every student. We can only give it to the best student. We cannot give the Gita Rasa to every person on the battlefield. You can only give it to an accomplished person. So he says, Purusharshabha. Yam hi navyathayantyete purusham. There is only one category of person who is eligible for Amritatvaya. Amritatvaya means moksha, immortality. What does this immortality and moksha have in common? No body. When you attain moksha, you don't take up a physical sharira again. So where is the mrityu there? Why do we call the devatas as immortal? Because they don't have mrityu. They don't have mrityu. They don't have a physical body that will die. They only have the sukshma sharira and the karana sharira. They don't have the stula sharira. We'll come to the discussion of the three shariras in the later stage. But samadukha sukham dhiram. A person who is composed and calm in the face of dukkha and sukha is the person who is eligible for amritatva. Because compare the happiness and bliss, Arjuna. When are you happy? When you get some material. So is that material making you happy? Again, depends on the circumstance. When you are happily sitting at home and someone gives you something very, very small, like sweet, you feel very happy. Oh, he's given me a sweet. Very happy. But assume you're coming in a highway and your car is repaired. Some person comes and gives you sweet. What do you say? Senseless person is giving me sweet at this time. Keep it inside. Is this the time? So our happiness depends on the circumstance, not the object. Is it right? We have injured ourselves. At that time, if someone gives us bandage, we are very happy. Oh, thank you for the bandage. I can help myself. We have headache. Someone gives us some Amritanjan or something, we are happy. We use it for our head. We don't have headache. At that time, some person gives us Amritanjan. Will we be happy by seeing it? Again, depends on the circumstance. So Arjuna, what do you define as happiness? Your happiness is so temporary. It is so much dependent. It is not consistent. The same action when you do in two different times, you are producing two different results. What is this? See, when you add salt to something, water or something, anything, in any circumstance, if you add salt to water, the water will be salty only. It is not that if you add it in morning, it will be sweet. If you add it in evening, it will be salty. No, it is not subject to circumstance. But why is your happiness alone? Why is your sadness alone subject to circumstance, Arjuna? Why is it subject to person, Arjuna? If your father scolds you, you are taking it okay. If a random person scolds you, you are becoming very, very angry. Why? Why is it dependent on person? So basically, is your happiness your personal trait, or is it dependent on everyone else except you? What is this temporary happiness? Paramatman has something called Satchidananda. Sat is good, Chit is heart, Ananda is happiness. Happiness because his heart is always in the right place. So Paramatman is always ever blissful. Is he always laughing? No. He is ever blissful. He is always smiling. He takes everything with a smiling face. In the later stage, Sri Krishna himself says Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. Will we ever say Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam? We go home and immediately demand our mother to make that food, this food. We don't accept anything that happens today only curd rice. Okay. We don't say that curd rice. Why today curd rice? We are all subject to material happiness, aren't we? Our happiness is dependent on a lot of external factors. Just one more example to specify this. Someone has made your favorite food. You're extremely happy you got a promotion at your job. You come home. Someone gives your favorite food. Maybe it's not your fully favorite food, some semi favorite also, you'll feel very happy. Wow, wow. They've given me this food. You have had a bad day at the office. Your boss scolded you for something which is not your mistake at all. You come home and your mother has prepared your most favorite food. Will you be able to enjoy it in the same way as you enjoyed it that day? So, we must all understand that our happiness is completely temporary and dependent on our environment, on our surroundings, on our emotion, on what has happened that day. The same incident might give different results to two different people who have experienced the same thing. Road contractor and farmer. Farmer has just put the crop, road contractor just put the road. It rains. Farmer is very happy. Oh, just now I put the seed, it has rained, I'll get a good crop. Road contractor spends so much money and put the cement, and it rains and everything is washed away. Same event is giving two people do different results. How temporary is your happiness, Arjuna? Make it permanent. When your happiness is permanent, you will be able to deal with everything with a smiling face, not with a laughing face. That is crazy. Not that. With a smiling face, deal with problems. Deal with everything that happens. Because only then your happiness and sadness will be dependent on you alone. In the Bhagavad Gita, in the following shlokas, Sri Krishna says, Atmaiva Atmano Bandhuhu Atmaiva Ripuratmana. We'll be looking at that in a later stage, but you are your own friend and you're your own enemy. Because you make yourself subject to the environment. Don't be that. Become sthira. Become dhrida. Face sukha and dukkha with the same attitude. Don't attach yourself to the action. You will become Amrtatva. So this is a very huge piece of advice given by Sri Krishna. We'll be dealing with the same topic for more time in the upcoming sessions. But we need to understand very strongly that what we describe as santosha is temporary. Ananda is permanent. We all need to achieve Ananda and go beyond the stage of Santosha. And for that, we need to look at everyone and everything from the same angle. If we start to do that, you will see your life transform. You will see your life change. You will not be affected by sudden changes in your life, be it positive or negative. When there is a positive, happy change happening, law dictates that there will be a negative change happening. If you want the tolerance to face pain, you must also have the tolerance to face happiness. It's very difficult to process this, but one who inflates in happiness and deflates in sadness is not in equilibrium. It is not recommended in science also. Only a person in equilibrium, only something in equilibrium is appreciated in science. And such a person will get Amrtatva. Let us all look at life in a different angle. Let us look at everyone equally, because they might have their own problems. Let us look at everyone, be kind with everyone. Let us talk in sweet words. Let us face difficulty, challenge, and happiness with the same attitude. Let us smile at them and let us see a change happening. गोविन्देति सदा ध्यानम् गोविन्देति सदा जपम् गोविन्देति सदा ध्यानम् सदा गोविन्दकीर्तनम् स्वस्तिः प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महीं महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितः सज्जनाः सन्तु निर्भयाः अपुत्राः पुत्रिणः सन्तु पौत्रिणः अधनाः सधनाः सन्तु जीवन्तु शरदां शतम् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम्।